All right. Thank you for turning into the Turnbuckle tapes. It's been a long while coming, but we are back for the new year. We just finished up 2024. We had some things change. We had our co-host Kyle. He departed, and wish him luck on his future endeavors. But I am joined here with my new tag team partner, Sean.
Hello. Yes, it is the blind referee Sean taking over for Kyle in regards to co-hosting on the Turnbuckle Tape podcast. Thankfully, we're just talking, so I don't have to see things. So we should be pretty good to go here.
Yeah. And then we are joined by a very special guest, Santino
How's it going?
Martinez.
How's it going?
Welcome to the show, dude. Appreciate
Welcome,
you coming
brother.
on.
Of course. Glad to be on.
I'm looking tired.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that Sanger show was great, but that the drive was a little much.
yeah, CJ saying something. He was like, every time we're on a long drive, not that this is a long drive, like anything past Modesto is a long drive for me. I don't like this. It was just 2 hour drive too, but
Takes a lot out of you, I imagine.
yeah.
Oh. But yes. What's that?
I don't like driving. I hate driving. It's the one part of the going to show. I hate it. It's just the drives. I'm tired all the damn time.
Yeah, I imagine.
Were you the pilot of the drive, or were you just a okay? So you had to do the drive. Okay. Yeah, same. I'm tired because I did the drive too. Like,
yeah.
Oh God.
But yeah, so well, let's go over your background a little bit. So like you have a background in amateur wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that in regards to like what got you into that and how's that experience been for you?
I started wrestling. Well, I started training when I was like 14, like 13, 14, and then I didn't start competing until I was about 15. Early on, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I kind of want to have like a background in some type of martial arts, and wrestling was the easiest one. I just didn't know you could join wrestling like in middle school and all that. And then by the time I found out, we just didn't have the funds for it. So my brother-in-law started training me. I found out randomly through my sister that her boyfriend at the time wrestled, and he was like a national qualifier. His whole family comes from wrestling, so they started training me up. And then I hit high school and started wrestling, and it was a blast. Honestly, it was just supposed to be like, hey, I'll try this out for a little bit, and then once I want to start, pro training, training for pro wrestling, then I'll do that. But I ended up falling in love with amateur wrestling, so did that all 4 years, and then I didn't go the college route right away. I tried some other stuff, and it just didn't work out, and I just kind of was working after high school then. So I was just working, and then about 21, I was like, oh, let me go back to school, and I went to college, wrestled for just 1 year, and not the greatest season because I was really fat. I I was real heavy compared to when I was in high school. I was a 120 pounder. So by the time I got to college, I was 180, but I had no muscle on me. It was just I had let myself go. So it was a difficult season, but through that I ended up I started helping coaching and all that, and now I coach high school wrestling.
Nice.
Now you mentioned how you quote unquote got fat and let yourself go. Were your weight cuts in high school and college dramatic? Were you cutting like 20, 30 pounds to wrestle like MMA fighters, or were you just cutting like maybe like 5 pounds of water weight to be able to wrestle?
My freshman year is probably the easiest up until like we got closer towards May. I blew up and I was walking down like 132 because when I started wrestling, I was like 113, and I blew up to 132, and I cut weight for the first time. I cut like 15 pounds in a week for like the Greco state tournament, and I went down to 113s, and I hated it. I hated it, but I took fifth place despite it, so that was cool, I guess. And then I had injured myself So I gained all that weight back. So by the time my sophomore year start, I was walking around like 144. And within like 2 months or so, I'd cut down about 30 pounds to walk around at 120s. And then from there, it was just maintain. Season would end, and I'd just blow up back to 140, 152. And then I would cut all the way back down to 120s. But during season, I didn't have, I was always cutting. So I was never like, had to work too hard to get there. But
Nice.
it once I graduated and I didn't have to cut no more, I was like, oh, I can eat.
Yeah.
Bulk up.
My first job out of high school was KFC, so
Oh my.
I had access to a lot of food. So I really
Got those 11 herbs and spices.
yeah, and then
I
on top of
was
that with beer, oh my god.
Were you working when they did like those sandwiches with the 2 chicken patties as the bun?
Oh,
Like, oh my.
yeah, we would like make sandwiches where we're like, let's put everything that's on our menu in the sandwich.
Yup. I work here. Give me everything.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, we used to do that when I was working at Firehouse. We'd get like the brisket and ham and turkey and stuff like that, and just garbage disposal. So you mentioned that you wanted to be a pro wrestler, and you saw amateur wrestling as a stepping stone. What was that next step for you to cross over from amateur wrestling into professional wrestling and learning that?
For me, honestly, like I said, after I graduated, things didn't work out with what I was going to do. So then I was just kind of working, and I always knew I still had the ability, the athletic ability, despite the weight, like you get tired a little faster, but like a lot of the reflexes are still there. A lot of the motive skills are still there. It was just the main thing I had to get over is just myself. Was like, oh, I don't know, I'm too nervous, I'm too this, I'm too that. But and it was funny because like I've been following Freeman since I was in high school because one of my buddies was training with him for a while, and I was on I had left college because I bummed out my knee. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to wrestle during the off season. I'll just work and I'll do online schooling. And then what would have been my first daughter was pregnant would have been my first daughter. And that was kind of what made me like go, you know what, like I need to do this because this was like a childhood dream, and I'm never gonna I'm never gonna know if I could do it if I don't start. So it's kind of the idea of just like mentally, if there's any reason to do it, let it be for my daughter, So then I just hit up Freeman online because through zombie prevention, they told me, they're like, oh, we know this guy, hit him up, go to the show, and then talk to him. And I just hit him up, told him my background. He's like, oh, you're gonna be a natural, and I was like, oh, okay. And I guess he was right, but yeah, after that, it was just a matter of like telling myself, oh, I don't have a daughter and feel like I'm a loser because I never tried. So.
Well,
That's cool.
I mean, he was right about you being a natural. You are damn 2 belts now, so.
Yeah. It was insane because like, went to my first camp, and it's kind of funny because I get there and for the longest, like I said, I followed Freeman on Instagram. I did not like Freeman. I did not like Freeman. I was like, this guy is terrible. He's talking about whores and all this other stuff. And 1 second. I don't know if you guys, is it interrupting on your guys' end or no?
No.
We're still chilling. We're good, brother.
Okay. Yeah, and he was a degenerate, and I was like, I don't know about this. But like it says on Prevention, I was like, we know this guy, and I'm like, well, if you guys like him, then he should be a chill guy. And then I watched him at Next Level wrestle with CJ, partnered up with CJ, and they're in a tag match. And I was like, okay, cool. We'll see how this goes. And then he had told me, he's like, I'm not training you. I have a guy who's going to come through and train you. So I said, okay. And first guy that I met after Freeman and CJ was Michael Shawn, who at the Next Level show, I was kind of shitting on him because if you know Michael Shawn, he's an asshole, But at Next Level, they have him coming out, shaking hands and whatnot, high-fiving people. And I just looked at him, I was like, I want to punch this guy in the face. I don't. He was great. It was him and Sean Sims, and it was a great match. But he was like, I don't like this guy. I want to punch him in the face. I don't want to cheer him. And then I meet him, and like, and he was real cool. He was nice. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I still want to punch him in the face. You have a punchable face. And he was real nice. He worked with me, and then I met Heihachi when he got there, and they had me go over the roles, and right away they're like, oh, okay, well, let's move on to this. Oh, okay, let's move on to this. And Michael Sean was just like, where the fuck have you been? It's like, I just scared, I guess. And he's okay, you know what? Like, dude, you're a natural. You already know how to bump. You know how to do this. I think a couple of things I was afraid of doing, but it didn't take me long to kind of master them. And then I kind of got over, like, the fear of doing it. Now is just, now I'm like, okay, cool. So how fast can we do this till I can get in the ring?
Yeah.
And then it made me even more excited because then I go to my first TWF show and I watch Freeman and CJ be assholes and like what I knew them for online. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I see Michael Sean talking shit to people. I'm like, oh, now I like that. That's what I thought you'd be doing.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing him get punched in the face. Now this is good. I'm enjoying this. Like
that's always interesting. The different universes of promotions. How like someone could be a face in one promotion, or it can completely be a dog shit heel in another promotion. So it's always weird to see that like dynamic back and forth.
Yeah, and for me it was just like it was a fun experience, and just kind of seeing how like they all can have that switch of just being a performer to just being a regular person. But the interesting thing was like they're not that far off from who they are in the ring.
Yeah.
Freeman and TJ can be wild people, Mike Sean he's not a nice guy, and I like ironically that's how him and I get along is we're both assholes and we're just honest but when you get that niceness out of us, it means okay, I really do care for you, I really do like you, but so it was interesting. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah, at least from my experience, Michael Sean definitely is not afraid to be the one to talk a little smack.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and it was good because Heihachi, he's really nice, he's really patient, but I don't come from a background like that. I have I tell everyone, like my amateur wrestling coach in high school, I still talk to him today. We coach alongside each other sometimes when we bring our teams together, and he's an asshole. He's not a nice guy, and you can always be better, and that's his mentality, So I need, someone like Michael Sean helps me out a lot, where it's like, hey, that was a good match, kid, but why didn't you do this? You could have done that instead of this. Yeah. And that's what I grew up with. I grew up just from my dad kind of being that way, but then my coach and competition, I could win a match in 20 seconds, get off the mat. Hey, you could have done it in 10. It's like, thanks, coach. And then, but when I got to college, I had a coach kind of like Heihachi, who was just nice, real patient, to when I was losing and I'd get off the match. And he's like, hey, man, that was a great match. And it's like, no, it wasn't. I lost. What are you talking about? Get out of my face, And so I do a lot better under pressure and under criticism. So very thankful.
I feel like any sort of thing like this, like you need to be able to take that criticism, because it's like settling for complacency isn't going to be benefiting you, especially in where you need to stand out amongst like other people. Like you only have a short period of time in front of people. So it's like, how do you maximize that small window?
And I'm a competitor at heart. So I gotta have I'm always trying to just get better. I'm always trying to just be dominant in whatever I do. So when there's guys coming in the locker room, coming up, or just guys who have been on the card and they're up, and they're in a position that I want, I need the criticism so I can get there.
Yeah.
I hate on my face saying oh, you're doing all the right things. It's like, okay, what about the wrong things that I'm doing? How can I fix those? Like, and how can I just get better? I just want to get better.
You don't have to go into specifics with the answer to this question, but I'm just curious, is like anytime the criticism like really stick in your head to like where you overly think about it every so often, like it just like you feed on that criticism to like fuel you, or like it bothers you so much or something like that?
Early in my, I say early in my career, but like this was like early last year, honestly, because I got the criticism and I asked for it because I like, hey, when I'm out there, what do you see? And the guy had asked, and it wasn't just him. I had asked this a couple of times before, and I kept getting the same response of, I don't know who you are, and people would ask me, well, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I don't, I'm just me. I'm just, that to this day still sticks with me because, they ask, well, what's your gimmick? What's this? And I hate using those words because I'm like, I don't really put on a gimmick. What you see out there is who I am. But I guess I wasn't like really putting it all out there. And it wasn't until recently that I really felt like I was finding myself. And I say that, and I know I'm still barely scratching the surface. But that's the big one is just, who are you? And that's just, just in life in general, I'm like, well, who the fuck am I? Jesus. I don't know. I think that's the biggest one for me.
It's really interesting that you say that, like I don't know if it was like intentional, but like wrestling kind of forces you to figure out who you are, like what you can be.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you don't know who you are, the crowd out there, they don't give a shit either. If you don't know who you are,
Yeah.
they're not gonna give a shit. They're gonna eat right through it.
Shit.
So, so I got a question for you. So as a wrestling fan, and obviously, like you mentioned, that this is something that you wanted to pursue. What were some matches that stood out to you that have motivated you to like be like, this is what I want to do?
By the way, if you say Taz, I'm gonna lose my shit laughing.
You guys are gonna hate me, but like, I didn't grow up on Taz.
No, it's just because of the music you use. That's why I was gonna lose it.
Yeah. No, I can't say specific matches. I have favorite matches, I guess, that are like, oh, that's wrestling, but I can't really think of any specific match that like, oh, that's what I wanted. Like, I don't know. There's certain wrestlers that I see that I'm like, oh, I want to be that to an extent. And I say that because one of them is like I grew up studying someone like Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
That was my dad's favorite. Now I don't want to be anything like that man personally, but professionally in the ring,
the artist away from the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad was always like, oh, that's a wrestler. That's a pro wrestler. Because you would watch him and everything was with intention. There was nothing that lacked purpose. There was nothing that he just did just to do for the sake of, oh, look, the crowd's going to like this, And I'm, of course, you want to get the crowd behind you, but at the same time, you're still trying to win. This is still a competition. We're still trying to win. So you got to, find that line. And someone like Benoit, Eddie is another one that I grew up. That was like, oh, everything he's doing. He had like a swagger to it too.
Yeah.
And the style, the personality. Shawn Michaels, maybe not style. I don't wrestle nothing like that guy, but like in the sense of just, you could tell he's giving everything. You could tell, oh, this guy's heart's in this. And that's kind of what I'm big on. And then, later on, more guys like CM Punk is a big one for me. CM Punk is the reason I got into trouble with a lot of like teachers and bosses. But in his promo on whoever I got to cut the promo on. Daniel Bryan, honestly, guys like Tyson Kidd, because he was a smaller guy. Just everything has intention. Everything has meaning. So I would say that. I can't really give matches, though.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely would put Eddie up there as far as like ones that stood out as far as character. Definitely Benoit. Yeah, it definitely has. It sounds like you have like a lot of technical, more.
How that happened either. I don't know how the I was drawn more to technical wrestling. Besides, maybe like obviously I was a John Cena mark growing up, but like he was never like, oh, he's my favorite wrestler in terms of what he does in the ring. He was just a favorite because of the whole message, never give up, all that shit. But like,
Yeah.
outside of that, like the technical style was always, it drew more for me. I don't know. And it kind of worked out because that was another reason why too I wanted to do amateur wrestling was I wanted to be guys like, wrestle like a guy like Benoit or wrestle like a guy like Kurt Angle, that style for me always just mean and aggressive and just you can feel the intensity of like a lot of the technical wrestlers.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a lot of the vibe I get from you when I ref your matches is you're trying to be very technical. And I really do think just from outside view looking in that it is your amateur background coming in. Like I see a lot of those guys that you named. I also see like a lot of like Shamrock and like Dan Severn in you when you work. So like there's a lot of that technicality and I think it stems over from your amateur background.
Yeah, oh definitely. I've always just been like an intense but like thoughtful guy. And that's like, I got challenged by Hernandez, he's like, well, who are you? Figure out who you are. What are you trying to be? And I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just trying to show people the side of me that I don't get to show because I don't compete no more, but when I wrestled, I was aggressive. When I wrestled, I was mean, but I was everything had a strategy, like I tell my kids today on the wrestling team, I'm like, hey, wrestling it's not checkers, it's chess. But you got to be a madman out there. So you're a madman playing chess. Figure that, you got to.
Styles make fights still. Yeah, that's
like you got to be moves ahead, but you got to be, you got to be mean about it because nothing's gonna come for free. And
yeah.
More and more, I'm finding that intensity. I know Giga said the other day that he was like kind of intimidated before we went out there and wrestled the blood sport match. Was because pacing back and forth and just really getting in the zone to when I got out there, I had to like remind myself like, hey, in the end of the day, I still got to like make sure this guy gets home.
Yeah. You're like, no, said blood sport, we're fighting. Like Kumite, let's go.
Fucking play that Stan Bush, baby. We're fucking
exactly.
Dude, I was super hyped when you came out to that. I was like, fuck yes, dude. I oh my god, that song gets me hyped as shit. And then that match was actually one of my favorites of the night. Like you guys definitely did have a lot of intensity in that match. Really enjoyed that. And like one of the first things that I remember saying to you was, or at least when I met you, was like watching you from when I first started watching TWF shows till now. Like, dude, like you really have grown as far as like your technical apparatus and then like who you are as as you're presenting yourself.
Thank you. That has to do a lot with just all my trainers like constantly getting on me, honestly. Just getting on, saying, hey, dude, that looked like shit, or hey, why, And I will say too, when Hernandez came through and put like it kind of put pressure on me. Kind of had a day where like Hernandez kind of like gave an opportunity to the coaches to tear through all of us. Hey, what's your gimmick? What's your character? Who are you trying to tell the crowd that you are? And they would explain it, and then they'd look at the trainers and be like, our trainers and be like, are they doing that? And they, fuck no, hell no, God no, what the hell?
Yeah.
You're trying to do, So when it got to me, I gave an answer, and even while giving the answer, I was like, I don't know if I'm being honest with myself. And they all told me, they're like, well, we're seeing. It seems like you're kind of scared. Like you're almost holding back a bit too much. And that's when I kind of was able to have the conversation where I told him like, hey, well, I come from a background where it's like, this is very real for me. This is very legit. Like it has to be real for me. Like there's no like, there's no holding back. And that's really hard for me because of my size and because of just my experience in the building I go to, people are very hesitant to want to work a certain style with me. And the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, if you realize, like, if I caught you in the alley, I would fucking murder you, you know? And, so having the conversation with Hernandez, he told me, humble yourself, like really humble yourself and just understand what you're trying to do. But if you, honest to God, believe into what you're doing, then make whoever you're working believe it too. You got to make the crowd, but if your opponent, your partner doesn't want to believe it, then make them a fucking believer out of it, And it was with that I started picking up the intensity and started like really like, oh, okay, and then I always have like Freeman and Michael in my ear, like, just go out there and do it. Just go out there and do your stuff, work your stuff. You're safe. You're not going to hurt nobody. Go out there and work your stuff. Stop letting people work their stuff and then be so hesitant to let you work your stuff. You believe into it, the crowd will believe into it, and the blood sport match for me was a big one because it was the closest thing to what I'm used to, the competition wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had to bring that out. And just going out there, just from the moment I walked out, just bouncing, getting ready, I did all the same things I did back when I used to wrestle. We would have dual meets and I'd just be, all the kids are sitting down and I'm behind the chairs, just bouncing, getting ready. I'd go out there in the middle of the mat. I'd get my tag, my ankle tag, put it on, do my little prayer. I did everything. And just having the crowd behind me before the match even started, like the way they were behind me, that was kind of new for me. And I was like, oh, they believe it. They see it,
Yeah.
And I'm like, good, because this is real. Like, this is, and like I said, Gigan was in the back. He's like, dude, I was kind of scared. I was kind of intimidated. Okay, I'll be safe. But it was good. It was really good.
So you've mentioned your coaching background a few times. So what did that look like where you decided you're like, all right, like I have enough wealth to teach? Like what was that moment where you wanted to tap into that?
Oh, it was never quite my choice. I volunteer coach underneath my coach from high school, and I was just helping him out. And I don't even like saying coach. I was more just an extra body in the room for the kids. Because when I graduated, there was one kid on the team who was like my partner, and he was a stud along with me. But there was no one else in the room to make him better. So my coach wanted me to, to just be a part of him. I was a part of him, and then I was just like, okay, well, I work now, but like I got nothing to do after work, so I just kept coming to help out. And he wanted to put me on the staff, but there was a couple other people that it was a bit of a situation, so he kind of get added on. And for me, it was like, I just want to be able to help. I don't want to be a head coach. I do not want to run a program. It's not my place, but I do have some knowledge in this sport that I want to be able to give back. But selfishly, I can't keep doing it for free and justify that to the time away, from, at the time I didn't have a daughter yet, but like just explaining that, the time away and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I had applied to be an assistant coach with another high school, Chavez High School, and they chose this other person over me because they had like the college credentials. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But then I got a call out from Mike saying like, hey, did you still want to be a coach? And then I'm like, yeah, I could, I'd love to be help out. He goes, well, it's not for me. It's Franklin. Their coach just quit, and their program's gonna go on because they don't have anyone for the job. And I'm like, coach, I do not want to be a head coach. I do not want to be a coach. I do not want to run a program. I hate talking to parents. I hate dealing with all the paperwork. It's just not me. I like wrestling, and that's all I want to be able to do.
More the
And he's
hands-on approach.
Yeah, and he was just like, hey, just do it. Program to do it for me. My coach graduated from Franklin. He's like, just do it for me. Help me out to make sure that program doesn't go under. If it's not for you, that's fine. Just get, build up your staff, and if you want to let it go to someone else, and you let it go to someone else, but just do not let that program die. And that's, so then from there, I called Michael Sean, and he was the one who told me, he's like, dude, you got a thing for like teaching. I can see you want to, because like already at the Dragon's Den, I wasn't training nobody. I wasn't, but I was, when Ayashi or Michael Sean would struggle to explain something, I know I just have a way of explaining things to where people get it. and for the things that I was really good at, I was able to teach those to the new students coming in.
Mhm.
So Michael, did you ever think for coaching? You ever think for teaching? Just do it. Just do it. You know you love it. Da 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 da. So it's like, okay. That's two of my coaches telling me this is something I should do. Don't let this program die. So I've been stuck ever since.
It definitely seems like it approached you.
You mean to tell me there wasn't some Indeed.com posting be like Franklin High School wrestling teacher?
It definitely wasn't. It was an interesting process. Just because, back when I was in high school, with love and respect to Franklin, they were never like a team that was like we had to worry about. Their lineup was always small, which is crazy.
They would be your lower league team, essentially.
Yeah, so, which is crazy because the coach they had, he helped coach me, Coach Hunter. He was a stud, but he had ended up leaving. And I legit remember one of the coaches on the staff was like, oh, you're going to coach when you graduate. Come help me out at Franklin. And I remember I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe. And then walking away, I'm like, I'm never fucking coaching at Franklin. And here I am.
Never say never, right?
Well,
so
it's been a blast.
Oh, it at least from my experience, like just to kind of give my experience, there have been a couple sessions that you have trained me, and you definitely, I get what you're saying as far as being able to convey that to the person, because it's you have a way to explain like what your body should be doing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And honestly, I don't know. I always knew I was going to end up in a coaching position because just like in high school, I always, it was never like intentional. I wanted to be a better wrestler. So like when my coach would break things down, I would go around asking other coaches like, hey, how do you do this? Or how do you explain this? And how do you go about it? And, then I had coaches breaking down the little things. And I was like, oh, okay. And through that, I just picked up more and more. And then once I started volunteer coaching, I would shadow my coach and see how you explain things. And some of it's not ethical, in terms of like, if you're a parent and you might hear it, you're like, what does that mean? Like right now, I'm not going to say anything online, but like this sort of thing, there's no other way to explain it. I'll give an example. It's whatever. When a kid throws somebody, there's a tendency of these kids, they get like re-rolled after the throw. So I'll tell my kids, hey, hip down. As soon as you hit that throw, get your hips to the mat. And some of my male wrestlers, they just don't get it because a lot of males don't talk about their hips a lot. So they don't know what that means. So instead of, hey, get your hips to the mat, it kind of helps to say, hey, dick to the dirt, and they kind of like dick in the dirt. And so as soon as they throw, they know, oh, I got to go flat, works, Now, do you want to hear that as a parent? Maybe not, and I understand that. But when you see your kid not getting re-rolled and you see your kid finishing a throw, you're like, oh, well, it's kind of weird that that's what it takes. But if it works, it works.
Do you think that like asking your coach actually like adapted you to like individual learning styles, so you've kind of like figured out like how to explain things to certain people, or do you just think it's a general like physicality kind of thing with what we're talking about?
Say that again. Sorry.
No, you're good. So like learning styles, like some people need to be shown, some people need to be told, some people need to like actually experience it. Do you feel like talking to your coaches and learning from them actually like it made you able to adapt to these learning styles, or with the subject that we're talking about being so physical, is it more of a you have to do it kind of thing?
It's a little bit of both. Like
Okay.
Coaches, and then just actually going out there and doing it, you kind of get it. There are certain things that I did that helped me remember, certain things like you probably heard me say like, chase the tail, whatever. Like when we're talking about getting up, or we're talking about, headlocking, you're trying to work up, or when you're just on your back, you're trying to get up. things like that. That's the same thing with amateur sports, where amateur wrestling, where it's just like certain moves. I'm like, hey, you got to chase the tail. You got to do this. You got, it's a weird. It is something like it's a little bit of listening and just taking from what my coaches say, because there's certain things my coach would say where I'm like, no, that's not the right visual that I'm getting in my head, So then when I do it, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm thinking of. This feels like I'm a dog chasing my tail, like little things like that.
Gotcha.
A little bit of both.
So as a wrestling fan, we'll shift gears here a little bit into the talking. So do you by any chance have a favorite jobber?
Yeah.
Besides myself?
No.
Oh, come on.
What are you talking about?
Mr. TV champion.
Yeah. Open challenge champion.
Jesus Christ. Favorite jobber? I grew up loving Eugene.
Hey!
Eugene was, I mean,
that's a good job.
I didn't understand what the gimmick was. I just thought, I was like, oh, he's different, I loved him. It was a fun one. And then the one associated the most with is Santino Marella. I loved him. I don't know if I call him a jobber though, just because he had a pretty good career. I mean,
he had a good run.
He's champion, tag team champion. That was the time he was a jobber, I guess. Another one, for some reason, I always like Curtis Axel. I don't know why. When they were trying to push him with Paul Heyman and all that, I loved it. I believed into it. I bought it. I thought he was cool. I'm sure he's not the most charismatic guy, but after
he was your guy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Your guy, yeah.
I was a big fan of him.
It's like that one meme where it's like there's no bond greater than a young boy and his favorite mid-card wrestler.
Way too accurate.
Yeah. Like what was the Axelmania? That was amazing when he did when he teamed up with Ryback, because Ryback was a favorite of mine for a while, and then he seems like a fucking weirdo now.
Didn't they do the gimmick with Axel where he never got eliminated for the Rumble or like some Battle Royal or something? Yeah.
I think he ended up getting eliminated technically. I think Dean Ambrose came out and just chucked him out. And he's like, all right. So, yeah, he's one that was always a favorite of mine for some reason. Another one I liked, and it's funny because I can't remember a single fucking match of his, but his music was a banger, was Yoshitatsu.
Oh my God, Yoshitatsu's music was a banger.
Yeah.
That song is so good. Oh, he was even a jobber in New Japan. He was the Bullet Club hunter, and he got jobbed out like crazy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I have quite a few, but if I got to say a favorite, definitely probably be Eugene and Curtis Axel. Oddly, for some reason. I don't know why.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Tony Anthony fan.
Yeah, you're going way back with yours. You're going way back.
Totally.
Mine makes sense with my youth. I'm a big Brooklyn Brawler guy, and then Steve Lombardi, the guy who pat himself on the back before he'd lose and stuff. Yeah, I love that. Or no, that's Steve Lombardi is Brooklyn Brawler. I'm thinking of God, dude, I'm blanking on his name now. I said it earlier too. Whatever. Guy pats himself on the back. Barry Horowitz. There it is. Barry Horowitz.
Oh yeah, should have known that one.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you mentioned as far as ironically saying don't let Franklin School die. We'll kind of shift back onto your involvement with Franklin. So this month actually on the 11th, this Saturday, upcoming Saturday, there's actually going to be a fundraiser / charity show for Franklin. That should actually be a good one. That one's going to be really good. How many have you done for this one, by the way? Or how many Fight for Franklins? This is the second one, right?
This is the second one, yes.
Nice.
Last year we did one. It was just kind of I had the idea to do one just because when I joined Franklin, I sat with the AD and I'm like, hey, so tournaments, they cost money. How much money do we have? And he's like, let me check your account. The previous coach before me only left $300 in the account. It's about $300 that you're looking at a JV tournament, maybe. And I was like, oh, well, that's no good. And he's just like, well,
is no good.
we're probably gonna have to wait till next season, and in the meantime, we'll just do the the dual meets. And I'm like, dude, matches makes it's all the mat time that makes the kids better. You can practice this time. They're never getting the opportunity to even try these moves. Like, it means nothing. And so I used that little bit of money. Our first year, we only had about probably 10 kids at the end, which is impressive alone just because Franklin usually only has like 3 kids. So when I came in, we had 3 kids. So I got to 10.
Nice.
That's hell of a recruitment.
Huh?
That's hell of a recruitment right there, going from 3 to 10. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'll take it, And I didn't do nothing in terms of like making posters, join out. Or I didn't. It was just, the first thing I told him was like, I'm just going to change the culture. I was like, you have kids who, no one's ever told them like, hey, good job. You're definitely going to have a hard time building a program. And I really don't give a shit to not bash this guy. The coach before me just didn't. I just don't think he gave a shit, honestly. Like, I still see him around at tournaments today. And he's exactly what the kids that he left behind said, saying like he would just stand in the corner. He wouldn't say nothing. We'd go to practice and he wouldn't coach us. He'd just say, hey, do this and watch this quick little video, do these things. And if you have any questions, I'll be in the office.
Yeah, it not very hands-on.
Oh, he's a PowerPoint teacher.
Essentially, and which is sad because the guy has all the knowledge in the world, and he's been around some studs, and and you would think he'd want to provide that to the kids, but yeah, so I think when I took over, a couple of the kids were like, yo, come out to wrestling, we got a new coach, he's pretty cool. He's working with us. I'd get on the mat with them and wrestle with them, and I was younger. I'm just coming in being a younger guy, where every one of our coaches in our league right now, they're all older guys. Everyone's 30 and up. I got a young staff. Myself, I'm 24, and my girls' head coach, he's 27. So when we had started, 3 years ago, even younger. So I think just having that alone, I think the kids kind of related to us. But yeah, have the funds was shit. So we had to do a couple little fundraising, but the main thing I always had the idea is like, maybe we do a show. Maybe if I got to throw in some of my own money, I'll throw in some of my own money. When we got our big coach's check, I donated some money to the team. I asked the 2 other coaches on the staff at the time if they could do the same. And then from there, it was just, okay, we'll try to get funds do this and do that and some donations, and we found a way to just kind of sort of have a better second year, but even then still not getting a whole lot of tournaments that we wanted. So then I had reached out to Freeman and them, and we talked about doing a show. I was originally going to pay for the gym at Franklin to do that. Way too expensive, not fucking worth it. So we kept talking to the guy who runs the Stockton venue, and he's a big wrestling fan. He's like a big amateur wrestling fan, so he was all over the idea. He's like, oh, we could do a charity, because Jake started it by just doing like some of the, we did a show. So technically this might be like technically a third charity show, because we did one show where, he donated some of the money to the team, and then the guy who runs the venue was like, oh, we could do a whole, like, we could, you guys can have the venue for free for that night. We'll make our money with the bar and the snack bar, and all that. Just, and then talked to Jake, he didn't down to do it. And I talked to a couple of the guys, and everyone was willing to make it happen. So it worked. It ended up working out. We raised, almost $2,000, and then we also did some more of our own fundraising and whatnot to kind of help pick up some money. And because of that, the charity show last year and the little bit of fundraising we did on our own, we've had a tournament pretty much every weekend. Like our boys just had a weekend off yesterday, but that was by choice.
Mhm.
Our girls wrestle still. Our girls have a weekend off to come in this Saturday. My boys are wrestling, so before the show, I'll be coaching in Stockton at a high school, and then I'll make my way down to the show. So it's a blessing. It definitely is, and the fact that there's a lot of guys who are willing to work it and be a part of it. Do that to make this happen. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it is definitely awesome. It seems like everything kind of came together for you. Like it's like, as far as being able to have your passion kind of extend and have that community like help out to, help keep this going for you with Franklin and everything just kind of harmoniously came together.
Yeah, it's been perfect. It's been great. Like it's fun too, because like some of my kids, they on the team, they get to see me wrestle. They had gotten to see me wrestle before that we ever did the charity show. Because I'm always telling the kids like, hey, if there's like if we're doing a show nearby, I tell them. And like I've had a parent drop one of their kids off at a Modesto show, and then my kid's
Nice.
like, hey, can we ride home? And I'm like, my mom dropped me off. She asked if you can give me a ride home. So I kind of wish mom would have asked before dropping me off.
It'll be no problem.
Mind you, I was like, okay, I was supposed to go to the bar with the boys after this, but it's all good.
Not tonight.
I'm kind of curious, what was the morale shift like from going from a coach that wasn't doing anything to going to a coach that's actually wrestling on the mat with the team? That had to have been such a huge boost for your team.
It was great. I mean, the kids, you don't have an easy time. Some of these kids, they when you're on the mat, I have kids on the team who'll come up to me, coach, let's wrestle, and I'm like, no, I don't want to wrestle you because you're trying to take me out. Like everyone wants to be the kid who got I was like, dude, my competition days, I won't say are over because I'm sure there'll be a time when I get back at it, but like I don't need to wrestle you. I'm not, you're trying to do everything to blow my knee out and break my arm. I'm only beating up on this kid to teach him something, like, so you got to do, you got to have a couple tricks up your sleeves. My favorite one is the kid is close to getting a takedown and you go, oh, wait. You want to grab the leg right there. You make it into a teaching moment. So now they never get that glory. But it's fun. I grew up, when I was my coach, despite being a big guy, he always got on the mat with us, and he didn't hold back. He'd beat the shit out of us, But it was that like we got better, We all had the same mentality. He's like, I want to take you down. It was never gonna happen. I was 20 pounds. My coach was like, pushing 300 pounds, so wasn't gonna take him down. But it was fun while it lasted. It was fun trying. So it definitely helps because we do get certain kids on the mat who, okay, now it's at a point he's beating up on everyone in the room. I got to work with them. I got to, see what I can do to get them better. Because as good as these kids get, us coaches, we always have a sleeve up, or, a trick up our sleeve.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I enjoy it. The day I can't get on the mat is probably when I'm a step away from coaching. If I can't really be like part of it, then I can't do it.
Got that much of a passion for it.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Well, speaking of passions with wrestling, so I imagine that you'd have some wrestling memorabilia or merchandise. What would you say is your favorite piece?
I mean, my girl and I alone have a bunch of stuff. God, my favorite. Jesus, I mean, right now I'm looking at all my girls' stuff. I've never been big on collecting a whole lot of stuff, pro wrestling wise, besides figures.
Mm-hmm.
huge. I collect. I mean, I'm staring. I got like an arena set up, like just.
Yo.
Oh, he's got a tub.
Yeah. I got 2 tubs of figures, and
He's about to have a Royal Rumble over
I had
there.
to do arena because I have so many figures, and I'm like, I don't have another tub for this, so I'm gonna just make a crowd of figures.
That would be sick.
My
That's
favorite.
rad.
I cried when my girl bought me these, actually. Probably these 2.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fucking
Mattel doesn't no longer has a license to
Mhm.
figures, and so I don't know when we'll see Road Warrior figures again. Besides a couple companies, they picked them up, but like from a partner WWE company, I don't know when we'll see it again. And J&A's in Stockton, they've had them forever, and I would go in there all the time and just stare at them, just stare at them, and I'm talking like I think he wouldn't let you buy them individually, so there was no like, oh, I'm gonna buy this one and come back for this one later. He's like, no, you gotta buy them together because if I can't sell them together, they're not gonna sell.
Yeah.
And he was like, they're $250 for the pack. My dogs are barking at the neighbor's dogs for some reason.
Turf war, brother. Turf war. Hey, get off my lawn.
They do this all the time. One second.
The owner clearly didn't have the Power Warrior or draws. Didn't have the draws figure of Power Warrior to complete the set.
Yeah. So, anyways, he was selling for $250, and I wanted them, but I'm a cheap ass, so I was like, I don't know, because I'm a big believer like wrestling figures shouldn't be kept in boxes. They should not be boxes. They should be opened up.
I actually agree with this statement. I 100% agree with it. Wrestling figures are intended to be open, not in displays and stuff like that. Like, they're wrestling figures. I want my wrestling figure to have a little bit of character, like a little bit of paint taken off or something.
Yeah, a little chipping, a little smudges and whatnot. And yeah, I would just go in there and just stare at them all the time. And then I'd buy something else. I'd go and buy, and they were just collecting dust. And I guess my girl decided to go in there and pull the trigger on them. So much so they're like, yeah, my boyfriend's been wanting these. And she explained kind of how I looked. And right away the guys were like, oh, I know who your boyfriend is. He comes in here quite often and he just stares at them all the time. And he never pulls the trigger. So I'm glad you are, because they've been here for a while.
Did she set you up where you were able to go into the store and they were gone?
No,
Oh!
I got it for you. That would have been terrible. I would have cried had I walked in there one day and they're just not there.
Dude, that would have been a gift though. You open them and you're like, oh my god!
Whole world rocked.
So, yeah, to open them up. I want to. I just don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Not even for value's sake. I'm scared. I don't want smudges on them. I don't want them damaged. But and I kind of like the box because it's the old school Mattel box where they're fucking hella big for no
Big as
reason.
shit. Yeah.
No reason. Plastic packaging.
Yeah, just a absolute fucking damaging to the earth package. Besides that, I got the Slim Jim Macho Man somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh, you.
The San Diego Comic Con exclusive. That figure, Michael Shawn and CJ were there when I purchased it. It was a figure that figure actually got me back into collecting, because I was collecting as a high schooler, but when I was in high school, I say collecting, it was just like if I had the money and I seen the figure, it's like, oh, I'll buy that one, I guess. I was never really collecting. It was more so just, oh, I like that guy, I'll get him. And I kind of stopped. Once I got older, I just stopped because I didn't have the room for it, and I didn't want to have to make the room for it. And then I don't know if I should put this out. I'm sure Michael's maybe mentioned it. Michael's also a collector. I'm not supposed to be putting that out, then too fucking bad.
Or we're gonna have an episode to talk about his collection.
Oh, Major Figures podcast, brother.
And he was, he took me. We had just got in training at Next Level, and I had mentioned about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't collect much anymore. Just occasionally I see a figure that I like, and I'll get it, but I'm never going out of my way for it." And he's like, "Oh, we should go to this store, Toy Fusion or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." So
man,
kind of, and so we went over there. We went to the cave, and I got a couple little like loose items, nothing crazy, just little things that. And then we went to the cave, and I'd seen it, and I immediately was like, I got to get that. Like I remember wanting it when it came out. There was no way I was going to fucking San Diego to go get it. But I
wait, this was at the cave or Toy Fusion?
Toy Fusion.
Okay, I was like, no way the cave had this. That would have been nuts to me.
Well, so they had it at Toy Fusion for $150, and I was like, God, I don't have that kind of fucking money.
Okay.
Well, I did. I don't have the money to spend it. So we kept going to the store, and like right before we left, I was like, I gotta buy it, and I bought it. And I told myself then, I was like, if I'm gonna buy this fucking figure, then I'm gonna get back into collecting, because I'll be able to justify somehow that makes sense. Is spend more money on wrestling figures, and it'll justify spending $150 on this wrestling figure.
You're justifying your hobby. You're not justifying your financial decisions.
Yes. There's actually a video still on my Instagram where the audio over it is like, some people think I'm rich. It's like, I'm not. What does it say? Fuck. It's pretty much saying like, I'm not rich, I'm just irresponsible. And it's a picture of the video shows the figure, and then it shows me going to my wallet, and all I have is like 2 pennies in my wallet.
Did you just describe America?
Yeah. Now, I told Michael too. Again, I'm never gonna see this figure again. I know it's 150, but I have to get it. Well, 2 weeks later, they're selling it at the fucking cave for 120.
Oh, get the fuck out! Oh,
damn.
I was upset about that.
Dude, who the fuck sold that to the cave?
I don't know.
Liam, just to give you a heads up, the cave is like one of those places that's like GameStop, but for like all of multimedia, like CDs, vinyls, figures, all kinds of stuff like that.
So like a collector.
Yeah, like you could trade in stuff to get store credit and then go buy more shit or whatever. Yeah, like any media, that's basically what they deal with.
It's amazing. It's
an awesome place. Don't get me wrong, but I'm shocked to hear that the cave stumbled upon the Macho Man Slim Jim figure. Like, what the fuck?
It didn't last long. And $120 isn't bad considering that I paid $150.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it did recently go back up. I think some people are selling it now for like $300 or some shit. Which I'm not a fan of reselling. I don't resell anything. If I resell anything, it's more so just I need to get rid of it because I have too much things. But I don't have anything in my collection that I'm looking at like, oh, I can't wait. One day this value is going to go up. Figures don't go up in price much because they're constantly releasing new. My favorite right now is they've been re-releasing a bunch of old figures, but like double jointed now. It's been great.
Wait, you can like break their limbs and shit?
No, you could let's see, the Stone Cold. They have the elbow now.
Oh, whoa, okay. Okay, it's got its own little pivot point. That's cool.
Yeah, so some of the Ultimates, they have the shoulder joints now. Like,
oh, that's rad.
Like one of my figures. But yeah, but so now some of the older Mattel figures are re-releasing with the better joints. Like at J&A's in Stockton, here in Stockton, I bought a CM Punk figure for like $60. I was fine with it because it's a figure I used to have, and sometime like a long time ago when I was younger, like an idiot, and then CM Punk left the fucking company. So I bought it for $60. Funny because now they're re-releasing it, but as an Ultimate. So now it's gonna have way more joints and everything. And so like some people are mad because they're like, dude, I just fucking bought this for $500 because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Dude.
Ringside Collectibles selling it $80, and I'm like, well, you fucking idiots.
So many hobbies have that same problem. So many hobbies have that same problem. Like collectible hobbies, anything like that. They're just stock markets.
Yeah, that's I feel that experience collecting vinyl.
Magic cards for me. Oh my god.
I just collect for my own enjoyment. If I like the figure, there's certain the figures that I look at, I'm like, I was never a fan of this guy, but this is a beautiful figure, and I'll get it. Isn't it? There's some figures I'm like, oh, I already have this, but this one comes with the new belt they just came out with. I'll buy it, you know.
So since you're a figure guy, do you know the story about Al Snow's first WWF figure?
No, I don't. I'm not.
So it came with head. Like it had a little plastic head, and a bunch of moms like got so mad, like one of those like protection for kids figures. Like they convinced Walmart to pull it because it had a dismembered head in the package.
Oh,
I vaguely remember that.
It's just paying for head.
Manufactured outrage.
I know, right? Totally manufactured outrage.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I don't know, it's a fun hobby. There's things that, I mean, I was never into, like, I got a couple wrestling shirts, but like most of the wrestling shirts you see me now are all old, dingy shirts that I got from like a buddy of mine. Like I got a bunch of Bullet shirts, and I'm not even like the most familiar with Bullet Club. Just have them because he was leaving to the army. He gave them to me. I got a couple other shirts that were just gifts to me. I have a couple like many things that we got from like the live events, going to live events with the VIP and all. They'll give you some stuff, but like I'm not crazy about like I gotta get a picture of this wrestler and get this autographed and then go do this and let me buy this belt. I guess there is a part of me that's like, don't be a mark. Don't do that. You know?
Don't be a mark.
But then there's another part of me too that I'm just like, I'm fine. I don't know. I think with the figures is just a lot of it just comes from like, just the one thing I had growing up all the time was I wasn't a gamer. I wasn't like into like, I'd get home and my brothers always beat me to the Xbox 360. They always beat me to the PlayStation 4. So what do I have left? Oh, my wrestling figures are in the room, you know, and that I just kind of, it got to the point like my girl will tell you, me, my girl, and a buddy of mine were in you guys remember Kick?
The social media platform, right?
Yeah, the little like.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're in a group chat on Kick, and my buddy, he's in the army now. He was actually supposed to start this wrestling shit with me. He's a big figure collector. So we got to the point where we're like, yo, let's put matches together with the figures.
Yeah.
You know, so we would do picture by picture, and my girl at the time, she would just watch them. She's just in there and she's like kind of like marking out for stupid shit. You know, we're doing matches like Daniel Bryan versus Bret Hart, you know, type shit. Matches that you want to see. And we're like, well, let's try making this happen.
By picture, do you mean like stop motion animation, like taking, like moving them slightly and then, or?
Not quite stop motion because we never had the patience for it, but legit just in the face. Kind of.
Okay.
And eventually and we're like, let's stop doing this in real time. Let's do all the pictures first and send them. Because for the longest, we're legit sending picture by picture, you know, to so with scroll.
Oh my god.
And by the end of it, your back's hurt because I'm maybe sitting down on the ground trying to do these matches and all that. And it was a painful time. But,
man.
But it was fun. For us, it was fun. Now I'm saying this was all in high school.
Yeah.
In high school.
In high school, I was big into video production, and a buddy of mine did stop motion animation. That's why I was curious if you were doing stop motion animation with those or not. My biggest question about you having figures, and you were playing with figures because you never got to the Xbox. Who was your Federation's champion? Who was the guy? Who's the main eventer? Who's drawing?
The one I remember was Punk. Punk.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 point Triple H. Fuck. And then we even had custom figures of ourselves. So
Yes!
Really?
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the other question I wanted to. Do you do customs? If you make customs of yourself, that's cool. But do you like make customs of other wrestlers or?
I was never good at. My buddy was really good. He'd make customs all the fucking time. And my buddy, I was never like an independent wrestling fan. He was really big on that. So all the guys from like Bullet Club, he was constantly trying to customize those guys. Like I remember he'd like, oh, this is Kenny Omega. I was like, who the fuck is Kenny Omega?
Who the fuck's this Mark?
Yeah, I was like, through the figures was actually how I got exposed to a lot of like independent guys because of him was like customizing figures constantly. And then a couple times have a bunch of loose pieces and put them together and like, oh, this is John, some fucking
John from accounting.
this
Here
is cool.
to audit.
But it's funny because like looking back at it, like for a custom of I did of myself, my gear is nothing like it. It's nothing like
Nikes.
Right, legit. Like the only realistic part about it was I had used this like a Roddy Piper head for it because Roddy Piper, the figure, the hair would like curl up, and like at the time, when my hair was like just starting to grow out, it kind of would curl up like that, and I was like, oh, that's the closest I'm gonna get to my hairstyle. And then legit, the figure had like I painted on tights, like just regular black and red tights on him, and I'm like, I'd never worn a pair of tights in my life, but yeah,
Wearing them now.
Now, to this day, I still, which is weird because I did this in high school when I was wrestling in singlets. I don't know why it never occurred to me that when I started pro wrestling, I'd most likely be in a singlet.
It makes sense, especially
I don't
got that background.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but yeah, so that's about what I have for just collection wise. It's just
wrestling merch.
Hell yeah.
A lot of years.
Yeah, the one thing that I've been wanting to get for the longest time, I just want to, and I have enough shit I collect, but I would love to get the big gold belt. Just
the replica.
Yeah, just get that, and I'd be good. And that's like my.
I've come close to buying it all the time, and I just tell myself, I'm like, where the fuck am I gonna put this?
But a giant wall decoration, I feel like.
Yeah, well, and then I'm fucking weird because I see it and I'm like, oh, this would look great in my living room. My girl doesn't want that shit in the living room. She doesn't want that.
Come on, babe, I need to display I'm the champion.
Yeah, now do you want to know? I'm the world heavyweight champion, baby.
She does not want that. Like, okay. Like she has her belt.
That belt out of her bag.
Yeah, so I've always wanted that one and the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA. That one's, I don't know, that's a beautiful belt to me. Michael's constantly like, oh, you could just go on this website. I'm like, Michael, stop. If I buy one, I'm going to buy more. And I don't want to.
The floodgates will open.
Is he telling you like the Temu of belts or something like that? Be like, you can buy it for like $45.
He's like, it's not authentic, but I know you don't give a shit about that. Just buy it. And I'm like, Michael, stop. I don't need to. I need to stop. That's the problem. I'll stick to the wrestling figures.
Quit enabling me, Michael.
Because man, open the fucking door, it's hard to close.
Yeah.
I've been to Michael's house. He's, I was like, I bet you don't have this belt. And he's walking out with it. And I'm like, oh, what about this one? And he's walking out with it. And meanwhile, his wife's getting mad because he has too much shit. And I'm like, right now, my girl's doesn't mind the figures, so let's leave it at that. Let's not.
You got your one
overstep.
thing, and she ain't mad about. Let's go.
Yeah, what she's not mad about, but she thinks it's ridiculous. Is now I have for some reason I started buying the vehicles. So anytime Mattel's selling like a big ass diesel, I got to buy the diesel. I got to buy the fucking mini motorcycles, the 4-wheelers, and like.
Wait, are
right now,
these WWE things, or are these just like?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess I was thinking you're just buying like fucking Tonka trucks.
Setting the stage for backyard brawls.
Dude, every time I'm at they sell this badass dumpster truck, and I'm like, dude, that kind of blends in what I got going on. And she's like, you don't need it, and I'm like, I kind of do though. I don't want it.
I do want it though.
I do.
Don't have a dumpster. Don't have a dump truck. That's been the problem now. Right now I'm on the hunt for the WWE Slam and Ambulance. It's fucking. They have like the top. You can break through the top. The doors open. Sirens
Oh yeah.
I gotta
Good
find
God, he fell through the top of the ambulance. Just so my bitch is dead.
Yeah, I need it. I need
Awesome.
to have it. It says I don't need. I don't think she knows about.
How in depth do you get with your figures? Do you have like commentators and announcers, or only wrestlers?
Like,
is there a JR chilling over there?
No, there's no JR.
Oh,
I actually got like. It's just two random figures. I think it's a Dean Malenko in a suit. Just because I had a Dean Malenko.
What?
Yeah. I have Dean Malenko laying around.
What the fuck?
I just threw him. I was like, oh, I have this body like in the suit. I think it's like a random Build-A-Fig that I didn't complete, so it doesn't have a head. So I just threw the Dean.
You're in Dean.
Malenko has like a very stern face, so you can pass as. Dean Malenko has the face of a guy like if you're walking down the street, you'd walk right past him. You know, like
Yeah.
And the other one is what's his name? I can't say his last name. Paul Erling. I can't say his fucking last name.
Paul Ellering.
Yeah.
The LOD manager.
Yeah. Just him in a suit as well. Legit. Just he came with another like a Build-A-Fig set. And I was like, oh, just fucking throw this together. Just because I was going to buy the Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone that the AEW brand sells. But they're like fucking $40 everywhere I go. And I don't want to buy them online. I hate. Yeah. That's one thing my girl like will tell you is I don't like buying figures online because I don't like the anxiety of waiting for them.
Yeah.
I'm not. So if I really want something, then yes, but I fucking hate it. To me, it kills the fun too of figure hunting.
So there's two things I want to touch on that. You don't know the condition of the packaging on figure hunting with shipping, so you don't know what you're getting into when it regards to the figure hand. Like it may already be damaged. The second thing, full circle. You talked about the Build-A-Figure thing, and I mentioned the whole Al Snow head thing. If I remember correctly, one of the Build-A-Figures was that Nicholas kid that won the titles with Braun Strowman, and his head was individually one of the pieces.
Yep. Yeah. Which is amazing. It's just a kid.
Yeah, right. Like, what the hell?
Jeez.
I always laugh at that one because I'm like, dude, I don't know how many people actually remember Nicholas and that Braun Strowman storyline. So if you're fucking just buying a random figure and you just have a child's head in there.
20 years ago, oh, there's a child's head in the wrestling figure. Get that up. 20 years later, oh, bye, it's fine, no big deal.
It's whatever.
Now, a child's head is a child's body just disassembled.
You're right.
Your job is to put them all together. One box has the body, the other box has the legs.
It's for real. They dismembered a child.
Made him a puzzle.
You know what's funny is I don't have any figure from that lineup because of that. I was like, dude, if I don't finish the set, I'm just gonna have a child's body or a child's and I'm never gonna find a use for that. So I was like, I think I'm gonna pass on buying it. Like I think Nicholas ended up being like one of the referee's son, right?
Yeah, he's one of the referee's sons.
For me, though, it's like, this is a random kid. This kid should never have been on TV. He should have never been in this situation. And now he's lying on a bunch of people's living rooms.
Some parents stepping on his arm. God damn it!
Someone come pick up Nicholas. I had to pass him.
Jesus.
Oh,
But no, yeah. So yeah, I do have a Build-A-Fig referee. I want to say it's the Teddy Long one, and the only thing I'm missing for it is the head. So I haven't came across. I don't even know what figure it comes with, so I haven't come across that one. So I just have I don't know whose head. Oh, I have an AJ Styles head on it because the arms I just switched the arms out for a different figure.
That's the most interesting body. White head, black hands.
Yeah. So it just looks like a hand figure. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a hand model.
Yeah. He's got the little cases from Zoolander on his hands.
Yeah. And then I do have a IRS figure that I'm using. I just have him
nice.
as a fucking referee, just because. I mean, he's already fitted, and then I had bought this fucking kit, and it comes with a bunch of different weapons and a wheelchair and a fucking crutch, a neck brace, and then it came randomly with a referee shirt. So I was like, oh, throw that on there, and then now he's referee.
There you go.
It's the most fitting job for him too.
He's not part of my time. I'm gonna throw him as a referee. So. But yeah, it's mostly just wrestlers, actual legit wrestlers. A lot of repeats actually too. I got I did the counting yesterday. For some reason, I have 7 or 8 Hulk Hogan's, fucking a bunch of John Cena's, because as a kid, it was actually really hard to find John Cena because he was the first figure to sell out everywhere.
Yeah.
So I never had a John Cena figure growing up besides the Jax one. So the Jax one helped.
I actually want to ask you a question and kind of pivot subjects real quick. You are, what, 24 right now, correct?
Yes.
So Cena's height, you were 10, right?
Yeah.
20. Okay. So I was the complete. You were the guy yelling, "Let's go Cena," and I was the guy going, "Cena sucks." So it totally makes sense to me that you're I couldn't find the Cenas because every kid wanted them. Yeah. Cena was their guy. Cena, for lack of a better term, was your Hogan. Say your prayers and vitamins was hustle, loyalty, respect. To pivot back to the figures. Are all the Cena figures in jorts, or do they have different colors and stuff like that?
All the ones I have, besides I have one that's the orange one, but it's from his when he wrestled the Fiend at WrestleMania. So he's in when they do the little travel back in time bit.
Yeah.
I have
one. Man, I'll have to dig through my stuff, see if I have my prototype figure. Sorry, continue. Sorry, I apologize.
I have them all fucking in jorts though. That's why. But no, yeah, it's it's just funny because I was always a John Cena mark for the longest. So when people started really appreciating him, I was like, dude, because eventually it started as just a kid, with the never say never, the fucking never give up, and that's all that shit, and the colorful colors and all that. But then it was just also I'm trying to be very careful how I say this. I got smart to the business early on, in the sense of just but I started just respecting it a bit more than just these are guys and gimmicks. I'm gonna continue to boo the bad guy, continue to cheer the good guys. At the end of the day, these motherfuckers are working hard, and I like what they do. I like their craft, and So when people are like, "Oh, John Cena," but I grew up in people wanted John Cena dead for some reason. For other people, they hated Cena, and it was yo, this is fucking. It got dark, really.
It was his booking, in my opinion, and you can't fault the person for following the instructions of the booker. John Cena was just doing his job. He's doing what he's told to do. if you want to blame anybody about how he was booked, blame the booker, which was Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but I was always legit a fan of his in-ring work. I know my style, that I liked. He wasn't a technical wrestler, but I always thought he was good because anytime he got in the ring with a technical guy, or anytime he got in the ring with a fucking high flyer, the matches were great. I was never crazy about his match like Big Ben and all that because then you definitely get that Super Cena kind of thing. But like all my favorites that I like, the style of the guys that I like when they would get in the ring with Cena, it gave like Cena knew how to like showcase other guys, and for me that's always like an even bigger fan of John Cena once I got like into my teenage years, like, and I would get hate for it. I remember like when I was 13, I was on Facebook. I probably shouldn't have been, but I don't know if you guys have ever done it when you guys were like an admin on a page of any sort.
No. Yeah. Oh God.
I got into that end of wrestling community where I was like, dude, I want to be on a wrestling page. I got a lot of opinions about wrestling and I know my history decent enough. And legit, one question like pages would ask you, who's your favorite wrestler? And the amount of times I didn't get onto a page as an admin because I would say, oh, my favorite wrestler is John Cena.
Dude, oh my God, yeah. That's
instantly no.
And I was new to fucking IWC, whereas like I didn't, I know you guys don't like him, but I didn't think you're judging me off of it now. That was insane to me. Like that was, and I would have people like, oh, you fucking probably still do this and do that. And I'm like, dude, I'm just a fan of the guy's work. Like I'm not like right away they assume like I tell them like, oh, I'm 13. So they already kind of like iffy about it. And then I tell them John Cena's my favorite. And they're like, oh, he must actually be 8. And I'm like, oh, okay. So,
damn.
Yeah. That was a fun time.
Dude, you were right, though. You should have been on Facebook at 13. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no. I got exposed to. It was insane.
You exposed her. You sound like every 90s kid who found porn with fucking 13-year-old 2010s in Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was an interesting time for me. But
shit.
No, it was. I've always been of John Cena mark. I don't know what it is.
So to pivot a little bit, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your own in-ring work. What is your favorite match you've had? And you don't have to get into detail like your worst favorite match, but what is like the worst moment you've experienced in a match?
It's probably not the. This was just funny to me. Was the other when we went to Modesto and no one cared for Eddie. For Guerrero when I like did the Three Amigos and yeah, and no fucking reaction to it. That was like that one hurt me. Personal thing. I was like, wow. And then I looked around. And it was a bunch of old white folks, and I was like, yeah, I through. Thoughts on that one? I should have thought.
Should have hit the lead drop, brother.
But like legitimately, my least favorite time, my worst time that I probably had in the ring was I say again a Modesto show. It was the first time I had coached, and then immediately go to a show afterwards, and I didn't go to the show with the best attitude because I was just so tired from the day. It was, we had coached it was a big tournament, well, the league tournament. So like, this is what seasons end, league tournament. If you don't take top 4, your season's over.
You're and then done. Yeah. So everything matters here.
Yeah. So this is when winning and losing matters. And we had a couple kids not make it through. And some of them were like kind of disappointing in the sense of just like, dude, we had all the right things. What the fuck happened after you kind of shit in the bed, And I took that with me into, going to the show over in Modesto, and It was me and Flacco versus CJ and Freeman, and I just wasn't there properly in the match. Like there was a couple of times CJ's trying to like hit a fucking power bomb, and I think he went for like a power bomb. He ended up having to give me a pile driver because I just didn't go up with him, and just little things like that was definitely. And then like my energy with the crowd was terrible, so they just didn't. I kind of killed the whole match, and I felt like, and it was definitely when I realized like, oh, I need to find a way to like not bring this energy.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I haven't had any moment where it was like, oh, this shit, oh, the crowd doesn't care, the crowd doesn't. I've always just taken any incidents like as a learning lesson. That was the only time I ever did where I'm like, I wish I could do that again, just because for them. I went backstage and I apologized so many times to Flacco, like, dude, I'm so sorry. That was terrible. That was that was like, mind you, in that match we won the tag team titles back.
Yeah.
And you need the crowd. The crowd should give a fuck about it, and I just don't think the crowd got behind it because of my energy. Honestly, and that says a lot because those are three big personalities in our company, in our business, And I felt like I drained the room a little bit that time. But any other situation, I've had matches where I'll fuck something up, botch a move, or fucking, I've never been a promo guy, so I might sound a little awkward a few times I'm on a mic, but I never take none of it like personal or too hard, or like I don't leave like where it ruins my day. I just take everything as a learning lesson, and then I'm really coachable, so I never go out there doing something that I think would be stupid. And if I'm experimenting with something, I will talk to my trainers beforehand. I'm like, hey, should I try this? And they'll tell me, no, I think that's a stupid idea. And if I'm really set on it, then I'll still try it. Or if I agree with them, or I just don't do it. So I've been real. Yeah. I don't have any moment of like, ooh, that was bad. Not yet. Knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't do something fucking to embarrass myself.
Oh, shit.
What about your best? What's your favorite match you've had?
Favorite match? I've had a few great matches. Like I got a list of matches that stand out to me. First one probably be the first time we went to Avery, me and Flacco versus CJ and Freeman. It's when we lost the tag titles, but for me that match was like, it was my first time main eventing a card, and it was we're all experimenting with this. We never been to Avery. We never, done a bar show like that. Or at least I haven't. And so I knew I had to bring intensity in. I'm talking about fucking wrestling Freeman and CJ. Who CJ's creative as fuck when it comes to these matches. If you're in a street fight with CJ, you're gonna have a fucking quite the time with it. Because he's what the fuck he does. And and that crowd's gonna love him because of who he is. Even when you hate him, you kind of love him.
Yeah.
He's so smart.
Yeah. And then you're talking to Freeman, who that's intensity that's hard to match.
Yeah.
And you're talking a street fight. And for Freeman, that he takes a big part on that fight, that means a lot to him in that end. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, in terms of creativity, in terms of just like the wildness of this match, to balance that out, we got Flacco. Flacco's definitely gonna, could definitely mesh on that end. In terms of intensity, I think I got to be the one to meet up with Freeman's intensity. And I think people got to see a lot of just like how tough I can be. Fuck's sake, in that match alone, I get body slammed onto a pile of snow.
Yeah.
And I say,
yeah, Avery's crazy cold in the winter up there.
It was a little hill of packed ice. And I got body
It's a brutal
slammed
slam, too.
That sounds awful.
It was awful. Thank you, Michael Sean. And then after that,
Fuck.
suplex from Matt Freeman on the concrete outside.
Oh.
And the finish of the match was, I'm going to slap the shit out of you and you're going to slap the shit out of me. And of course, it's me and Freeman in the middle of the fucking ring throwing just the meanest fucking Stockton slaps at each other as hard as we can. You know, to this day,
are you guys almost shooting at that point? Like legit just throwing slaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we had talked about it and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to practice slapping somebody and I don't want to practice taking slaps from somebody. So I'm just gonna hit you.
Just fucking slap me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we're just gonna go out there and we're just gonna hit each other. How about that? And he's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, just know I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can. And he's like, okay. Watch the video. He hits me and I slap the shit out of him. Like you can hear it. And to this day, he tells me like, I almost knocked his hearing out. And you know, and it was brutal. It was brutal, but the crowd was into it, and it was fun, and just people got to see, you know, like, oh shit, you know, this kid's tough. This kid's willing to, you know, to go the extra mile to make a show, you know. And the whole idea of that match was like, hey, we need to kill it because we're gonna come back in a couple months, and we want these guys to come back, and you know, so that was fun. That was that one. Another match also in Avery was me and Swole. That one I took some pride in because me and Swole, I don't know if Swole considers himself one, but I consider myself one of Michael Shant's kids. And so to me, it's like, hey, I get told last second, hey, you and Swole are going to main event. I'm like, okay, cool, you know. And I thought we had a really good match to the point where, like, even, like, you know, the trainers afterwards, like, that was good. That was good. You know, all the boys in the back were like, that was really fucking good, you know. And a lot of it wasn't planned. It was just on the spot. And that match gave me the confidence of like, oh, okay, I can do this. I know, I have a good idea of like what I'm doing. I don't have to be one of these guys in the back pivoting, like planning every little fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, I can do some shit on the fly and just kind of do some shit and make some shit happen. Another standout match was with Dave Wasted. The first time I wrestled Dave, that was just kind of taking a chance on me. He's like, I just want to get you work without you having to wrestle like someone you train with or, you know, or trained by. And that was another match. Just had a great time. And Dave is a lot of charisma, you know, and crowd loves him. To be out there and be that crowd balance and keep them behind me as well. That was a challenge for me because I was like, hey, you guys are pushing me as a baby face. And you got me facing one of the bigger baby faces. I don't know if I'm gonna come out of this alive the way you want me to. And I rose to the occasion. It was good. A few other ones I've had. You know, I had a match with Hayashi that we didn't load eye where it was like, oh, I can keep up with, you know, a bit more of a faster paced match and really have a good time with the matches that I grew up like enjoying. You know, and you know, things like matches like that always fun. Like I know everyone, like I'm big on the less is more, but I'm also big on like, yeah, more can be more too, and more can mean something.
Yeah,
have the right, you know, if you set the right president behind it, then you're good to go. And that match was, you know, perfect. And recent matches I've had, that Bloodsport match was definitely something I was proud of. That was a risky match to do.
Yeah.
Because I asked Jake, hey, can we do a Bloodsport? And originally I wanted to do it back in the summer. And you had said like, hey, you know, this is the idea that I had. So it's okay, we'll push it for another time. And then when I heard I was getting a rematch with, you know, against Giga, I'm like, dude, we gotta do Bloodsport. Like, we gotta make it happen. I think we could make something good out of it, you know. And I felt like it was a great match. I felt like the crowd was really into it, you know. So that's another one that I was proud of because I told, you know, my trainers, I'm like, hey, this is a risk because I asked for this, and if it doesn't go as planned, I mean, and that fucking card was insane at the Colonial.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was a crazy show.
Yeah.
Cards, so this doesn't go as planned. We're gonna be fucking forgotten, like easily.
Yeah.
So we gotta fucking do something to really, and I think we did a great fucking job. So
yeah, definitely recommend anybody listening to watch that one on Pro Wrestling Plus. That it's honestly a great fucking match. That was my favorite one of the night. Like legit. Good. It had like really good pacing, like good like crescendos, and then kind of like good lulls. Like even when you guys weren't doing anything, like there was a lot of essentially there was just heat. Like, you know, Giga talking shit to the crowd, and then you trying to get the crowd behind you. Like it was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I was really proud of that match. Just like I said, it was a risk that, and I was happy Jake Jake's like willing to take that risk, you know, for me. Well, I'm like, hey, can we do this? And he's like, yeah, if you think it make it happen, you know, and and there's been a couple other times where I'm like, I have this idea, and he's like, I don't know, if, you know, you sure that's gonna work? I'm like, I think we can make it work, you know. And that's something I'm proud of. It's like just being every time I've taken certain risk, it's paid off.
Yeah,
you know, and they work. So everything's calculated though. It never just, you know. Had it been any other story, I probably wouldn't have gone blood sport, but I felt like it was the only way.
I feel like to circle back to something you said, you should pat yourself on the back, because every time we've gone out to Avery, the crowd's always just hot. So like you guys did your job on that first thing, like getting them to come back. Like that crowd is always receptive, always fun, always enjoys the show. So hats off for like going out to a new territory and making an impact, for lack of a better term.
Oh yeah, I mean that crowd's amazing. It's always a blast, and you don't know what you're gonna get. There's, you know, I always have a good time when we go, like, you know, and bless that town, because it's like when me and my girl like decided, like, hey, what's up, you know?
Yeah, better. Yeah, let's go Avery.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, I was gonna say I've never been to an Avery show, but just watching that match specifically that you were talking about, like it feels like a super personal like venue, just like you're right there, like right by the ropes.
Yeah.
And
dude, let me paint you the picture, Liam. It is this like basically almost like tarot card horror inspired bar in the hills, and there's a giant skeleton when you come in. It's just so rad. There's no cell phone signal, so you have to hook up to their Wi-Fi.
You in the cuts,
dude. Yeah, you're in the hills, and it's a cool little venue. Like half the town shows up because it's on a Saturday night, and they're always receptive and always hot. So it like I said, Santino, they did their job on the first show, because half the town still shows up when we go out there now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Summertime fucking sucks. It's so goddamn hot. But,
yeah.
Like, you know, the last time we did a show summertime, and we were inside, and we still had like a good crowd within, and we're all dying of fucking heat, you know. So we you know, the crowd was feeling that too, but they stood with us and had a good time. So
hell yeah.
That crowd, that's always like a personal one for me, you know, because just like I said, it was an opportunity for me it's always an opportunity for me there to like, let me try some shit. Let me, you know, do something different, and I can get away with it a little bit better, because the crowd's not as like, they're not as mean about it. They're not as, you know, it's a Saturday fucking night. They just want to have a good time. You know, They got a beer and that's, you know, they want to have a good time. And then afterwards we party with the fucking town, and they love us. They fucking love us.
They love the fact that they can just mingle with the whole crew. They're just like, holy shit, they're drinking. Oh wow, we're part of the show. Oh my god, it's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they see like, yeah, I'm just a human. I'm just another, you know.
Yep.
You know, if anything, I probably drink more than you is.
Like, just a chill guy who likes wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah. Chill guy who's wrestling.
That's sick. Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here though. But really appreciate you coming on, Santino. It's been great talking to you, and um, getting to know a little bit more about your background with being a coach for Franklin, and you applying like your amateur style wrestling to your craft. Like it truly is a lot of fun to watch you wrestle. Any match that I see with you on it, I'm always looking forward to that one.
Better. It's definitely gonna get better. I'm learning just to start pulling the trigger on a lot of things and just fucking let loose. And then also like that chip in the shoulder is kind of coming back too. So there's a lot of there's a lot of ass kickings and ass whippings that need to be handed out, and
Hell
you know
yeah.
I felt like it's been long overdue. So I
Hell
appreciate the compliment.
yes.
It's only gonna get better. I'm only looking up from here. So
Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Do you got any matches coming up that you wanna plug? I know
I,
we got the fight for Franklin.
Right for Franklin.
yeah, I got to I definitely want to plug this Saturday. Not just my matches across the board. It's all looking good. I mean, we got fucking Prince Gabriel versus Chucky D. We got Diva versus Boss Blacker. We got fucking Christian Black versus Jay Cruz. We got Dragon's Den versus BLE for the tag team titles. That's gonna be a fucking banger in itself. We got Michael Sean versus Sean Sims. They're kind of reigniting their personal rivalry that they haven't fucking. I don't think they've gone 1-on-1 since their next level. Well, since Michael Sean's next level days.
Yeah, they haven't touched since then.
And we've been seeing a lot of the Bike Lovers versus 209 click, but I just Michael Sean and Sean Sims, like they know how to make some fucking magic, and they're probably gonna kill each other. So we got a rematch, Giga and Landon, and Landon's fucking making a hot run right now as he's looking to capture the TWF title soon. So I mean that match right there. I'm sure Giga's not happy about losing to me. So maybe hopefully he's gonna try to work his way back up, and so he can get his ass kicked again. And then we got the main event, and it is a shoot. I do not know who the fucking secret partner is. That is
I was gonna try to brother some info. Dang it!
No, you're gonna have to try to get Flacco on and talk to him because he has. And yeah, so that's exciting. It's we're wrestling CJ and Swollen Noah, and I mean we all know how CJ can be. We all know how Swollen his son can be. So
Yeah.
that alone, we definitely got to have someone who's gonna match that. And all Flacco keeps telling me is just he'll be perfect for the occasion, and I don't know what that means. There's a man of his past and a man that I'm familiar with, and I don't know, but it is going to be hard to keep it from me considering the locker room back there is kind of small.
Yeah. Ain't hiding much back there.
But he's telling me I won't know to the I won't know to the match starts. Like
he's gonna keep him in the parking lot. Don't come in the locker room till I come and get you.
Here's a couple waters and some crackers.
Yeah. So whoever is fucking back there is probably not gonna get fed the best. So I do give fair warning to CJ and the 209 click. This motherfucker's gonna come hungry and mean, probably, most likely. So that's all the information I have. I don't fucking know. We'll fucking see who, and we know Flacco's kind of crazy. So this could be anybody. So I'm looking forward to see who it could be. In the end, it's all about the kids, the wrestling team. It's trying to bring money, raise funds for them, and make sure they can compete and continue to kick some ass next season. And just kind of rebuild our financial situation because, like I said, we've definitely used up a lot of the money that we've raised.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that again next season. So thank you guys for having me. It's a blast. There's still a lot of information out there too. If there's more that you're looking to dig for me. As for another thing too, we're doing differently. I was gonna ask you, we're still doing the live commentary.
Oh, I mean, I'd still be down. I know that me and Sean were kind of talking about that and discussing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still down.
I don't know. Is Ray gonna be there?
Ray will be there. Yes.
Okay, so Mo's planning on being there too, so that means you have 2 other refs. That means I can pivot to commentary if you want.
We can see what we could do because I know
Okay.
I've talked some patients with Ray. I know he's doing his commissioner work, so I don't quite know what that even entails. I'm new to this shit, I guess. So,
Right. Yeah. I don't know what he's planning on doing either with that.
You have a little bit of a surprise commentator. He's a bit of a big motherfucker, if that's any clue to commentary in the past. So he's a big MF for sure. So
That's for sure,
yeah,
brother. Hell yes.
So you won't be alone on that fucking commentary booth. But
Hell
I do
yeah.
look forward to seeing that fucking show. I think it's gonna be a fucking blast. I'm gonna try some crazy shit. Hopefully I don't kill myself.
Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, we don't need none of that.
We're doing this for the kids.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for the children.
For the children.
TWF is for the children.
TWF for the kids.
So, but thank you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and thank you for listening. Appreciate you guys if you made it this far. Gonna plug a couple things.
Listening.
Check out ProWrestlingPlus.tv. Watch all the old Northern California matches, and then also if you're working out, you're looking for a little pep in your step, looking for a little juice, check out Psycho Pharma. Definitely have some good pre-workouts if you're trying to get some extra reps. Jesus, I can't talk. Try to get some extra weight.
In.
That's right. But yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. This has been Turnbuckle Tapes. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, oh, look at that.